The Dallas Mavericks, on verge of making the 2024 NBA Finals, doing so having two of the game's premier scorers, the best closing duo in the league, from hitting clutch shot after clutch shot, making big plays, whether it's setting up the big men for perfect laps at the rim or making tremendous defensive efforts, from a team ESPN graded a D on the Kyrie Irving trade just 15 months ago to now competing for a championship. The duo of Luka and Kyrie Irving absolutely destroying, abusing, annihilating, and humiliating 22-year-old Anthony Edwards. The media, trying to hype up with all the Jordan comparisons, unofficially crowned it the next face of the NBA after eliminating the defending champs. The superstar got a taste of the Luka special. If there's any young star who deserves to have his name mentioned with the GOAT, the answer's absolutely Luka Doncic and Luka only. If you're that confident with your takes and predictions and want to make smart bets while looking through the numbers, you're in luck. Today, I would like to thank my new sponsor, OddsJam. OddsJam is the top choice for data-driven sports betting, tracking over 260 sports books in real time. With OddsJam, you'll become a profitable sports bettor using strategies similar to those employed by successful investors and traders. How does it work? Thanks to the OddsJam arbitrage tool, which identifies discrepancies in sports betting lines across the market. This tool finds arbitrage betting opportunities, guaranteeing risk-free profits by spotting these differences. You can even bet on both sides of the market and still make a profit. But that's not all. OddsJam also offers a positive EV calculator to help you optimize your bet sizes and a bet tracker to monitor your profits across all your sportsbook accounts. By using OddsJam, you'll bet smarter and more responsibly, leading to long-term profitability. Plus, they're so confident in their product that they offer a 7-day free trial. Ready to try it out? Use code WILSON for a 35% discount on your first month. You can click the link to the description below to get started and maximize unlocking your full potential. Enjoy, and now, back to the video. Due to the dominance of international superstars taking over the game, still without a US-born MVP since 2018 James Harden, throughout the 2020s decade, LeBron James no longer crowned as the best player, aging gracefully. Somebody had to take the crown, but yet the media refuses to acknowledge the greatness of Giannis until he won it all, still profoundly hates on Jokic because he's different, and many, including Stephen A. Smith, continues to rip on Doncic.
I definitely thought that Jalen Brunson deserved to be first team. Believe it or not, even ahead of Luka. And I certainly don't believe Oklahoma City is going to lose to Dallas.
And the Dallas Mavericks, for the second time in 3 years, are going to the Western Conference Finals.
He ain't a better offensive player than Kevin Durant. You can cancel that dream. You stop that nonsense.
The polarizing face of ESPN had the audacity to dismiss Luka's historic 73 piece, the closest we've seen to Kobe's 81.
The fans want this? No, the league wanted it. The Atlanta Hawks, no wonder why y'all stink.
While gushing over Joel nowhere to be found in the conference finals Embiid's 70 piece and Cat's 58 3/4.
This is not Joel Embiid who played Billy Ball because you know what, you have a thin Victor Wembanyama on you. We understand that, we expect that. This is not a situation where Karl-Anthony Towns dropped 58 in the first 3 quarters, but the 58 points he scored in those first 3 quarters, a lot of those points he was being challenged. This is not that. What transpired last night in Atlanta was disgraceful.
The only thing we see in this Dallas series, 58 bricks from Bad Kitty. The continuous anti-Luka agendas, absolutely wrong, disgusting, disgraceful, and flat out embarrassing. For the casual NBA fans who still stuck in 2019, thinking the LeBron, Steph Currys, and KD's still the very best players in the world, and finally starting to realize Jokic when he won a chip last season and didn't even have Luka in their top 5 months ago, Doncic has clearly been a top 5 player in the game since the start of the 21 season. That's an absolute undeniable fact, no matter what the talking heads say. See, when the 64-win Suns supposed to be cruising to the conference finals, Devin Booker crowned the next Kobe, Doncic officially ended that franchise's hopes. Realistically, it's Luka and Jokic, the two best offensive players in the game the last several years. The playoffs and regular season numbers prove that. Always been clutch since day one, the Slovenian prodigy balled out his heart in the 2020 bubble. His first real test in the postseason, unfazed, let the entire basketball know he was never gonna get punked by anyone. From Montrezl Harrell calling him names, only to reach record-setting milestones, the historic 43, 17, and 13 piece, plus the game-winning bomb.
Back to Doncic. Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good!
Being massive underdogs took the team who many picked to win the title to 6 games. Without Kristaps Porzingis' second half of that series, in only his second postseason, had 3 40-point games, took Pat Bev out of that series. Kawhi Leonard played out of his mind to win it for the Clippers. Luka averaged 36, 8, and 10. Then came 2022, destroyed Devin Booker in humiliating fashion, a picture for the ages when he was only 23 years old. Current Anthony Edwards still not even close to that version of Doncic. Many having short memories, forgotten about Luka taking his team to the conference finals, facing a much more complete Golden State team, a series Dwight Powell was the starting center. Guys like Finney Smith and Reggie Bullock starting, playing big minutes, both absolutely irrelevant since leaving Dallas. While the number 1 pick out of Georgia landed in the struggling franchise, desperate in seeking an alpha dog with the underachieving Karl Towns, a super athlete with similarities to Dwayne Wade and Donovan Mitchell, who easily proved to be head and shoulders above everyone in his draft class, gradually improved yearly, has the killer mentality from day one, respectable first postseason, 36-point playoff debut, had his fair shares of struggles with the erratic D'Angelo Russell, an absolute travesty. Minnesota needed to get rid of D'Lo, only for giving the Lakers similar inconsistent results. And Jaden McDaniel made amazing strides, team on the come up, all of a sudden traded all their future assets and picks along with any good role players for Utah's Rudy Gobert, a player who just got eliminated by Luka's Mavs. And a poor reputation, notoriously getting cooked in the playoffs, a high-risk, high-reward type deal. The 21-year-old finally named an All-Star, averaged near 25, 6, and 5, but Towns missed 53 games. The two 7-footers barely had any playing time. Just like many other dynamic pairings, things don't always work out in the beginning. Doncic and Kyrie needed some time, along with the proper role players, to take the next step. The addition of calm, composed, savvy vet Mike Conley served Minnesota well. The Rudy trade looked like a disaster at first, punches drawn to teammates, tensions ran high, Jaden breaking his hand McDaniel, Naz Reid injured. Minnesota made the playoffs, gave the eventual champs the most competitive series from a battling standpoint, according to Bruce Brown. Especially Game 2, Nuggets came back and won thanks to Jamal Murray's 40-piece. The forgotten Ants' 41-point game overshadowed in the loss. Teammate Cat came up super small, a pathetic 3 of 12 10-point game. Of course Minnesota was gonna lose. Edwards also went off the third game, a 36, 7, 5, and 3 stat line, but his team once again undermatched. No Naz Reid to help out Rudy on Jokic, on verge of getting swept. Edwards responded with a clutch bomb, 2 ginormous baskets in overtime in the game where Cat's last bucket, over 9 minutes left in the fourth, and didn't back down Game 5, attacked Jokic down the stretch with the season on the line. The 21-year-old confidently wanted the ball last possession, a missed-tying 3. Regardless of the loss, Minnesota had a rising star, averaged a ridiculous 32, 5, and 5 on 60% true shooting against a loaded all-around Denver squad with Bruce Brown. The comparisons to a Dwayne Wade and Michael Jordan couldn't be avoided. His biggest attribute being unafraid of the moment, becoming a better passer compared to his first playoffs, also capable playing off ball and competitive defense, of course, because the Lakers knocked off Ant in the play-in, went on to beat a depleted Memphis team and discombobulated Golden State roster. LA played the Nuggets in the conference finals when that could have easily went to Minnesota. As Jokic dominated on verge to his first title, his personality and European presence simply didn't fit the NBA media narratives. While Luka received the biggest backlash of his career, labeled a stat pattern, too ball dominant, and not a good teammate, known for lashing at refs, one of the darkest moments in Dallas Mavericks franchise history, still a small chance at the play-in, but the odds weren't in their favor. Started Harden, Frank Ntilikina trying every way imaginable, losing to the Bulls in hilarious Shaq in the Fool ending fashion. Dallas would have won one of those games at the end, wouldn't have been able to draft Derek Lively with the 12th pick, not wanting to lose it to New York. Lively now of course a huge part of Dallas' success. The OKC series literally decided by free throws game 6. After 2023, rumors started to gossip on Luka's patient running thin, Dallas making one of the most controversial basketball decisions of the decade. The best $750,000 fine the franchise has seen turned out to be 100% the right thing. Doncic proved to not only have one of his best offensive seasons all time, but swept under the radar, especially in the MVP race, being in the competitive tough West, the 3rd seed to the play-in spot position, separated by 3 to 5 games midway through the season. Winning 50 games in the tough West, Luka's team would have finished tied with 2nd place in the East, easily would have gotten more MVP votes if that be the case. Not to mention Kyrie out for 24 games, team went 11-13 without him, Mavs 4-8 without Doncic, having the highest combined points, rebounds, and assist total since Kareem Jabbar. Of all the guys on the list, only Kareem 1973 and Harden 2019 didn't win MVP, mainly due to voter fatigue, and Luka getting MVP hype since his 3rd season. Perhaps it's just player fatigue, the media refusing to give him his props. Some didn't even vote him for All-NBA First Team, an absolute disgrace of a travesty by those shamefully covering the game, raising the bar insanely high in his 2nd season by averaging an insane 29, 9-9. Does he need to average 40, 12, and 12 to finally earn his MVP votes? Just 7 years ago, Russ Westbrook getting all the praise and talk non-stop, winning MVP as the 6th seed, finishing with a worse record than these current Luka's Mavs, and Doncic's excellence from the media brushed to the side. Many simply took his greatness for granted and now acting shocked. Luka with a respectable supporting cast about to lead his team to the finals at just age 25. Given the type of season he's had, realistically, better than more than 70% of previous MVP winners, a one-of-a-kind player in Luka's magnitude was never gonna miss the playoffs for 2 seasons in a row. Even all-time greats in their 20s missed the playoffs due to bad supporting cast like Kobe Bryant in 05 and Kareem Jabbar 75 and 76. Heading into these playoffs, many including myself had the Denver Nuggets coming out the West, but even I knew about the greatness of Luka, picking Dallas to lose in 7 the conference finals, but many also didn't expect Minnesota to get out the first round. The way the media still talks about the LeBrons, Durants, and Currys of the world makes many still think they're undebatable of the best players in the game, when in reality, there's a massive gap from Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and a healthy Giannis to everyone else. Many, including myself, also picked Phoenix to beat Minnesota. Ant-Man absolutely destroyed and abused Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, leaving the franchise in shambles. Many officially having Ant, the best shooting guard in the game, averaged the monster 31, 8, and 6 with the charismatic personality, giving fun answers to every questions, the smiles that reminds many of the great Irvin Magic Johnson, being an absolute killer on the court, the fun style of play, elite level athleticism, shoots threes, and plays D, something that many rips Luka and Jokic for being slow and unathletic. The haters argue their defensive liabilities, just like how many were quick to draw reckless comparisons to the great Michael Jordan. Every turnaround J, block, and steals, the physical characteristics and similar gestures will just do enough to get the Jordan mentions. Of course, being American also helps, which is why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being Canadian doesn't get the amount of hype as if he was American. Also not as charismatic and less fun of a personality. Shai in many ways lets his game talk for himself, just similar to a prime Kawhi Leonard. While Edwards, proven to be a bona fide leader, uplifts his teammates, Towns changing his role as a number 2, getting to his senses, having the mature Mike Conley, often praised as an excellent locker room guy. Edwards having all the tools to compete for a championship, absolutely torched Jamal Murray in the Denver series, 43-point Game 1 masterpiece, looked like a first defensive teamer, but Reggie Miller also got ahead of himself, calling Ant the best two-way player in the game, not aware that he had to guard Kyrie the very next round. His excellent performances, all the praise super necessary, but the MJ-like comparisons super unnecessary, just being built up to get kicked when he's down. The near impossible comparisons in today's NBA, along with toxic social media, it's all about comparing current stars to all-time great ones. If a player wins a big game, all of a sudden they're in GOAT talks, but if they lose, they're a bum. Too much hypocrisy today. Edwards, despite struggling Game 7 on the road, never lost faith in his abilities. 16, 8, and 7, made key plays, willed his team to win despite shooting 6 of 24, 4 wins away from the finals, but the light simply too bright, looking gassed out, chasing the polished Kyrie Irving, facing unfamiliar territory, going up against a superstar like no other, who's only 2 years older, much more polished, and been in many big situations, a way more complete offensive player than Edwards himself. The sensational Doncic with an excellent GM Nico Harrison. This time around, his teammates got his back, whether in physical confrontations with the other team and knocking down big-time shots, dismantled the helpless James Harden and Paul George. 35.10 assists Game 5, won on the road by 30 on a bad knee. OKC playing the best D on Doncic, having the physical strength of Luke Dort, plus the Thunder dared role players PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. to beat them on open jumpers, and they did. Minnesota choosing to blitz and drop coverage, just like how 2016 LeBron had Kyrie to create his own shots, catch and shoot, and continuously drain clutch jumpers. Dallas with 2 of the best shot creators. Despite Minnesota being more deep as a team, the late executions of the two couldn't be more opposite. After an jumper Game 1, Luka comes right back, then moves the ball around to an open PJ Washington 3. Luka also proven to play excellent defense. Coach Jaden McDaniel, Kitty Cat Towns, Shaq the Bed. The duo outscored Ant and Towns all 3 games by a substantial margin. Minnesota's 2 stars struggled, still a chance to win, up 108-103, a minute left. Their lack of experience and playmaking in the clutch too overwhelming, making mistakes against the best closers in the game. You're asking to lose at that point, giving Luka just enough time to put the 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in a blender. Even an average performance from Cat and Edwards, this series probably be 2-1 Minnesota, one way or the other.
Goes out there. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! Got it! What a shot!
Losing the first 2 at home, going back to Luka's house, Dallas continued their excellence, closed out Game 3 on a 14-1 run before a meaningless Wolves basket. Doncic's smartness, taking a charge on Edwards, getting out of control, just proven to be on another level. A motivated Luka, literally unstoppable, getting so disrespected they try having Rudy post him up. F out of here with that nonsense. Stares at the Wolves bench while Edwards showing fatigue, chasing around Kyrie, eventually leaving the smaller Mike Conley helpless on an island. Luka Game 3, having more steals than Minnesota combined, beating them at their own strengths, winning a jump ball. We are literally witnessing all the plays a prime Larry Bird would make. Teammate Kyrie being a champion, making the winning plays, adjusting his game, providing his defensive performances. The Dallas Mavericks much more locked in. While Ant's so-called second option, one of the most talented bigs in the game, should be averaging 25 and 11 a game with his skill set, but an epic 15 and 8 stinker, 28% shooting in the conference finals, being a max player, an absolute triple disgrace of a travesty. Proven to not be a serious winner and making ridiculous statements after the game. 4 of 32 from 3 from the so-called self-proclaimed best shooting big all time. 7 feet tall, scared to post up, poor body language. It's one thing that Denver doesn't have a rim protector and Cat can get to the paint all he wants. And now struggling with PJ Washington, to having Lively or Gafford waiting down low for him. Cat and Rudy together on the floor playing like this makes it impossible for Minnesota to win. All in all, if Anthony Edwards gonna bounce back and become a future champion, not this season but later on, Karl-Anthony Towns simply not good enough as a second option and not built for championship NBA basketball, embarrassing himself in front of Dirk Nowitzki, the unanimous best outside 7-foot shooter all time. Head coach Jason Kidd outsmarting Chris Finch, warned us in January, complimenting Luka to the highest of highs, and yet the media continue to ignore him, but won't be ignoring the greatness of Luka Doncic after he gets his team to the NBA Finals and possibly raising a banner as a future NBA champion, being the best player in the game.
You can't take this young man for granted. He's better than Dirk. He's in the and the atmosphere of MJ, the best to ever do it, LeBron, Kobe. And so just to appreciate what this young man's doing at the age of 24 is something that Dallas has never seen. His ultimate goal is to win a championship, and he will get there, not just, win one, but he will win multiple when it's all said and done.